Hey y'all, welcome to Dread Pop and my little segment called Interview with a Reader, where I talk to those people in the horror community that I think make a big impact and are really just there in the trenches helping out fellow authors, fellow horror community people, just the people that are kind of the glue that keep everything running and rolling. And here I am with Angel, who I think is one of those people. Hey Angel.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Well,
And
thank
as
you
you
for
can
being here.
see, the Frog Master has arrived with his trusty frog that I'm sure
Yes.
yeah, you can see that.
So
hmm
cute. I would say, well, all frogs are cute, but maybe not so much so ones in some of your books.
But seriously, thank you for having me on. And
So, jumping into things, what is something that you really love about the horror community? And I know you could go on for days about this. You are a big proponent of
yes,
the horror community.
I guess I can get started from the beginning. I grew up with Holly, you could say. I grew up with the Goosebumps book by R.L. Stein. I used to go to the library every Friday after school with my father. I tell my father, let's go to the library. I want to see if they got anything new. So, I pick up the Goosebumps book like Night of the Living Dummy, A Night in Terror Tower. You can basically know. And yeah, I was just hooked on them. And then I was also hooked on the. You ever remember those choose your own adventure books?
Yes, I used to literally have my hands and fingers through the whole thing, marking my
Yes.
spot just in case I died. When did you know
uh,
you had anxiety then?
yeah, I got a bit of a confession to make that I'm ashamed about my younger self doing. I used to dog ear the pages instead of having a bookmark.
How
Yeah,
dare you?
but that was my 6, 7 year old that didn't know any better. But I make sure to have a bookmark, and that's why I have bookmarks available for those who have my newest book. So there we go. So now I teach people do not dog ear because now that I've written books of my own, as you can see here, I wouldn't want them to do it to my book. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine my poor heart. And I do confess that in my younger years, I may or may not have dog eared a page or two, I'm ashamed to say.
Yeah, but then again, unfortunately, I didn't think of having a bookmark back then, but I wanted to keep the pages. I needed to make sure I remember where I was in case I made a bad decision, and then I just go back and redo it. But most of the time, it was just not a fun. Uh, that all I can say is night berries were the biggest thing to me. I grew up with night berries, the local night berry. I used to, when you just go there. I used to go there from until high school because at my high school it had its own night berry, so I just used to go there as well. But after school, I used to go to the library. Sometimes I even used the computer for research papers because I had a computer, but unfortunately, we were the richest family out there, and internet access wasn't always accessible to us. We're talking about the dial-up years. You know, so
I used to remember we had field trips where our entire class would walk to the local
Mhm.
library to do our research papers and
Yeah.
stuff because
hmm
our school didn't have a computer library, I don't think, until like, I can't even remember when we got computers, honestly.
Wow.
Small
Wow.
town, small town.
Yeah, but the point being that the internet access was considered a luxury back then. That's why I tell the kids today, you don't know how good you have it. You really don't know how good you had it. Compared to us old farts, you can say. And I'm not even that old. I'm gonna be 35 this year, but I feel old because I grew up with dial-up. I grew up. Remember the times when you had to use the phone and you had to make sure your parents didn't pick up the phone or they knock you out of the. I used to hate it, but now when I talk to my father, we just laugh about it. Hey pops, you remember the day when I told you not to pick up the phone because he knocked me out of my internet? But I was in the middle of playing a computer game. I was in the middle of playing Tetris
Oh,
online.
oh
So
goodness.
yeah, but
Libraries are important though. Like when I think back when I was younger, I can't remember like a ton of like bookstores, not even used ones really. I think I
Wow.
would pick up books at the flea market or a yard sale or
Yes.
maybe
Hmm.
Walmart,
Yep.
but
Hmm.
everything else,
Hmm.
library, library, library. That's where all the books
Correct.
live.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, I mean, we went on a bit of a tangent on library. So to go back to your question about the horror community, I grew up with horror. I grew up watching Halloween. It. My favorite movie of all time is actually a miniseries. The Naganeers. I remember when they gave it on ABC. For the first time in the summer of 1995, I remember that. I was 5 years old. I was pretty young, but I actually enjoyed it, the Naganeers, and then when I got older, I actually got to read the noveletta, the actual book, and I think the book is actually better. But I'm going to tell you something: the movie was pretty good for its time. Okay, I know some people are going to talk crap about the CGI Naganeers themselves, but that was the best you could get in 1995. You have to
You got to
understand.
remember, you had what you had to deal with them days. Sometimes you just got to think, man, for then, this was good.
No, it was. But you know who took over the movie? Who took over was Brunson Pinchot, the guy who played Craig Toomey. He was the one that took over the crazy passenger. That all he saw was the Naganeers. He thought they were invading the airplane in the airport. So he just went crazy, starting to try to kill people, thinking they were the Naganeers chasing them because because what happened is they get stuck in the past. They get 15 minutes in the past. So there's nobody in the airport. The food has no taste. All right. So imagine that. You imagine in the world that when you're tasting food, it has no taste, and then you come to find out that you're in a world that's declining, that's starting to end. And the Naganis are these new reptilian creatures, and they're the ones who eat the past. So they're the timekeepers of
I swear, people that just watch the movie and don't read the book are doing themselves such a disservice because
yeah,
I watched the movie and I was like, okay. And then I read the book and I was like, oh, okay. And then I
yeah,
went back and
exactly.
watched the movie and I'm like, okay, this is so much better. It makes so much more sense.
Right. Yeah, I remember watching it, and then I went to want to read the actual book, and yeah, it was you're right. I had the same, but but I also think it's actually a very underappreciated Stephen King story. And people, when you ask about Stephen King, is about it, the standing, misery, and I mean those are all good, but the Nagging was something special for me. Maybe it's because it's the first book I ever read for Stephen King. I waited till I got older to start reading Stephen King, so that was like the first one I ever read, and it just got stuck on me. Just the fact that Stephen King was so masterful in his storytelling with that one. Because
Everybody's
I
always got one book that just kind of hits you
mhm,
and then it just does not let go ever.
right,
And then you
correct.
talk about it the rest of your life, of course.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Sometimes I talk to my father about it ad nauseum at times, and I talk to, but I mean, I've tried reading some of Stephen King's newer stuff. It just doesn't land the same for me. I'm gonna be honest. It's just not the same. This newer stuff. I'm mostly more into his classic stuff. It's not that his new stuff is terrible, but it just doesn't land the same.
For
You know.
me, like all Stephen King is pizza. Even not great pizza is still good pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
definitely feel the same way. Like I'm a huge Needful Things. Like We'll Die on That Hill, favorite thing he's ever written in my life. But then
Right.
like I'll never read like Revival again. Would read
Right.
and I'm done. And I know there's people that love it. So I'm just like something for everybody. You know how it is in the horror
Yes.
community, which I'm glad
Exactly.
for.
And you bring up a good point. That's another thing I like about the horror community. There's something for everyone. There really is. I'll be honest. I'm mostly a gore person. I'm like gore creatures. Oh, the gooey stuff. But I've actually enjoyed some good creepy horror by Ben Young. Stuck by Ben Young, really good. And then Gage with In the Eyes, in the Shadows. It made me cry, that one. So but but now I've become an equal opportunity horror movie. I can't. As long as it's fun, I'll read it and enjoy it. You
That's
know.
how I am. I
Yeah.
used to not be a big creature feature girl, but I'm just like, as long as it's got a good story these days, let me read it and see how it goes. And I found so many books that I would not have just picked up on my own that
Yeah. I
way.
mean.
You know
Mhm.
what? Just try everything. Why not?
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, because there's people that will not touch it, but that's the beauty. I mean, that's then you don't have to read it. You just read something else, and I tell everybody that because sometimes it gets annoying when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like that," then just look for something else. It does it. I'm but I don't usually get annoyed by that. I understand that. You know, it's
No,
like
I think I
sports.
totally get what you're saying. Like the same thing with me. Like you'll see me posting all day long about the books I love, but I think you would have to dig to find the books I don't like. I write my little review on them, and then you don't hear me say anything else about it. That's all you need to do. You don't need
Right.
me. I hated this book so much. How else
Oh man, yeah, it
goes?
gets
No.
toxic. I mean, but I'm kind of used to it because I'm a big sports fan. I go to Facebook pages about sports teams, and it gets even nasty with sports. Oh my
I
man,
think I've said it before, but like I'm one of those people that like I have things that I love so much, but I stay out of the actual fandoms because it
wow.
ruins it for me. And I'm just like, I just want to love the thing. Please don't make it terrible.
Yeah, like like because when I was younger, I used to join fandoms, and then I had to get out. I
Yeah.
had to because it was like, man, all you do is talk negative. Like, sometimes you might go on the borderline of trolling.
And
It
I'm
just
like,
become a thing.
we're all
So
passionate about it, but like, shouldn't we be more excited about it instead of being like, no, you're dumb?
yeah, yeah, you're exactly, and I think that's like I'm like I really love about the indie horror community, like books of horror, the Dread Pop magazine. You don't see too much of that. You don't
It
see too much
gets
of that.
stomped out real fast, like
Yeah.
real fast, which I
Uh-huh.
really enjoy.
hmm and for those who don't know, I post a lot of reviews of what I read. You can check me out on Books of Horror. I post reviews of what I read. I post what I'm reading. You know, and and really, I think and even though and what I find like about the horror community is that it's authentic. Let's put it that way. It's authentic. I'm really into it because I love what I read. I really love it. And even though I'm an author as well, I do write my own books, but I'm in it more as a reader than an author. Even though I'm kind of a full-time author, but I also understand that it's based on very favorable circumstances. I get to take care of my elderly parents, so it's kind of a very favorable circumstance I'm in. But I get a lot more time to read than many others. But so I tell authors, I try to support as many authors as I can, but and then sometimes I'll be honest, I feel a little guilty when I have so many books in front of me, and it's like, I see this poor author's got this book and doesn't have too much love, and it's like I want to read it and give it love, but then
I just want
I
to adopt all the little books, and there's just so many of them.
there's so many of them, and then of course I got this to be read this. I said, oh, but I'm going to read this one. I can't just skip over this one. But but I think the wonderful thing is authors in general are understanding. They're very understanding. They understand that there's many readers, and we're not machines. We're not AI bots that can read book after book. Nor do I want to be an AI bot.
Absolutely.
I actually want to enjoy what I do.
All the authors that I've read for have been like super super nice. Like I have a pretty fast turnaround because I literally only read. But nobody's been like, "Hey, have you got this done? Have you got this done?" And it's
Oh
been nice.
yeah,
It's
I would
just
never do that.
so nice.
I would. I mean, I know I might be doing myself a disservice by not following up, but I just can't do that. I can't be that. I can't be that guy that says, "Oh, did you get it done?" Like it just seems so tacky. Let's put it that way.
Yes. And also, like, if it was me, I wouldn't want to be like, hey, have you read this when I haven't heard anything back? And then be like, yeah, well, it sucked. And I'll be like, oh, well, I
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
I'm just kidding. But no.
No,
But
I mean,
you
no,
don't hear
you
back.
can't.
I'm just like,
No, it's a,
something.
I mean, the thing about it is, I know authors are. I mean, even me, sometimes I get, I get anxious about what somebody thinks about it, or they, But then sometimes you just have to accept it. Maybe it's not the cup of tea, or maybe something came up. Hey, listen, it happens to me and my parents. Sometimes my parents get sick. I gotta take them to the doctor. Or I got my neighbor needs, and I mean, I live next to an elderly neighbor next door. And sometimes they need me, so I have to take them out, and there goes my day. Sometimes it's an old day thing.
Everybody's got responsibilities these days. I know I've had a couple of authors that have asked me to read something, but then I never heard back from them. I'm like, well, they had a busy day, and I'm not going to bug somebody for it. Let it go,
Yeah,
that's kind of how I am. I like to be non-confrontational unless I have to.
Yeah, or maybe they realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't think this is ready to be wedded yet. Maybe
exactly.
Or maybe they realize, oh shit, I don't think. Maybe they wedded themselves and said, oh crap, maybe I need to do some more work on it, and it's not
the
ready.
drawing board, which I also appreciate.
Yeah, right. I think I did that one time. I wanted people to read my book, but then I said I didn't give it to them, and so I said I needed more time to fix it. I said, oh no, I can't send you this. It might be a beta read, but it's got to be better than that.
I completely understand. Let's see. So who in the horror community, and this can be indie, this can be bigger, and you can have more than one, of course, would you say is like your horror role models? Like, who do you think this is who I want to be like more?
That's a really wonderful question. I was hoping you would ask that question because because I look up to plenty of them. I mean, in the broader community, in the big horror community, it's Stephen King. Stephen King is my role model. But of course, many horror authors are going to agree with that. Stephen King, he's the man. I know some people would say Dean Koontz, but nah, I'm a King person. I'm a King. I'm Team King right here. He's the King, and I read the history about Stephen King. He had many rejections before he got accepted. And did you know he got a parking ticket for moving a traffic cone? So so I mean, I was looking into Stephen King's history and the little fun facts about him. And what I like about Stephen King, he also has books for writers. He doesn't just write horror. He writes books for writers to tell them this is how you write. This is the process you have to take. And I like it because it takes a no nonsense approach. I think so I really what I like about Stephen King too, he's not scared to show what he thinks about certain things. He's very vocal on what he shares. But at the same time, he's making millions of dollars every year, so he could afford to say whatever he wants to say, even if it triggers certain people. I'm not going into politics, I promise you, but that's the way I look at Stephen King. He's a really cool guy. Okay, maybe he's kind of gone down in his new books, but that's just my opinion. Hey, he's still selling millions of copies every year, so he's doing something right.
I still pre-order every book he's got, so
right. Me too. Hey,
right.
Me too. Hey, I'm guilty of it too. I'll still consume it. Maybe not pre-order it. I'll order it the day when it comes out because I'm a little more cautious. But I'm still gonna spend my money. So Stephen King, chef's kiss to him. As far as the indie community goes, it's definitely not more personal. One of my favorite authors is Jay Boyer. I love Jay Boy. He's a but I actually got to know Jay Boy on Facebook long ago because I used to write historical fiction back in the 2020 and 2021. I was writing in another pen name, another genre, and I got to meet him, because we were writing in a genre called Lit RPG, which is a literary video game. It's like a book set in video game format. So we met in that community. So we talked, and then in 2023, I decided to jump back into horror because that was my real passion. And J Boy was one of the first guys to welcome me with open arms. He welcomed me into the community, and he wished me all the luck in the world. And he gave me a lot of love, and he he supports me every way he can, and I support him too. And yeah, I'm obviously J Boy. He's I even interviewed him one time because I used to be part of a podcast that interviewed authors. I used to do a podcast with others, and I interviewed him a long time ago. And wonderful guy, good personality, and the only problem is I haven't got to meet him face to face because of the circumstances. But one day,
one day.
Another one another author I really love in the community is Gage Greenwood. But I'm sure you could have guessed that. Gage is just he got the first book of Fonts and Margaritas. He pre-ordered it when it back last year, and I see he guides and mentors young authors. He really pushes people.
He's just so genuine, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just Gage inspires others. Is how I feel. Like I don't know how else to say it. I mean, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing with the Dread Pop magazine. Maybe one day when money gets better for me, I'll join the Patreon and give you guys some cash because you guys are wonderful. But yeah, I like what he's doing, and not to mention he's a talented author. I'm just gonna say it like that. He's a wonderful, talented author. The only thing, and this is a small thing, the only thing wrong with him is a Boston Red Sox fan. I'm a Yankee fan, so we don't necessarily agree there. We kind of go separate ways when it comes to baseball, but that's sports. I'm sure I'm sure he'll give me shit whenever I get to meet him for real. He'll give me shit being a Yankee fan because he actually told me one time I don't like the Yankees because they used to win at night.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm a New York. I came from New York originally, so I was raised a Yankee fan. So it kind of grew on me. So, but yeah, that's there's a lot of other authors I really love in the community, but those are the two that really hit me the most. I mean, it's a lot of other authors I admire, like Damon Max. I'm sure you've read his books, the Owner Jocks. Damon Max is, I admire him because he grew up, he landed and put in jail, and he got himself out of it. He's sobering up, and he's become a really good author. So it's a lot of authors I just want to go and meet.
The list just goes on and on, just on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Role models. Now that we talk role models, and I'm sure this will kind of overlap a little bit because it usually does when I ask this question.
Go ahead.
Who are your favorite authors / favorite book? And this can be mainstream or indie, just as long as it's horror. So I'll give you an out so you don't have to say any indie ones if you don't want to.
Oh boy! Obviously, of course, mainstream. Of course, the Nagoneers. Of course, that was my first love. The Nagoneers, the Goosebumps series. For R.L. Stein, all of them. I was hooked on them. I even like the R.L. Stein Choose Your Adventure ones I read. Those were, I love. Those were excellent.
Yes.
I enjoyed. It was a good classic, but it's a big book. Big book. It took me a couple of years to finish it when I first read it, and then when I watched the movie, it just wasn't as good. I saw the movie, and another one I loved was Misery. Yeah, Misery. Mm-hmm.
What a book! What a movie!
Yep, both of them were really good. Yeah, so. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm a big King fan, so none of my mainstream ones are King. Now, for the indie ones, that one's a bigger list. That one is a bigger list. I can go on hours talking about it, but I'll just try to give you the top 5 that I really loved. And that was number 1 is Food Court of the Damned by D.W. Hicks. It's a good old 90s horror in a food court. And it took me, it was a trip back to the 90s. I mean, I grew up in the inner city, so malls weren't, I wasn't really a mall person because I grew up in the inner cities. So I was mostly hanging out in the parks by the subway. But that was a good, but I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like when he mentioned the Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of my favorite groups to talk about. I mean, to listen to. Yeah, there's Wayne fought there. So that's number 4 would be Sleeper Train by Jay Boyer and John Lynch. Yeah, that really fun in the Coastal Express. It just starts off good and it just keeps going. And, you know, it's not a train horror books that take place in the train. And so I
There
really
really
love
isn't,
that.
now that I sit here and think about it, which is weird because that's kind of a horrifying place to be trapped.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't really read much train horror, and I thought Jay Boyer and John Lynch, the tag team, knocked it out of the park. You know, I really loved it. Now, for my number 3, it might be a lesser known title, is Insects by Kisto Healy. Insects. For those who might not know, I have an irrational fear of moths and insects. I do not like insects. So that one kind of triggered my insect phobia even more. But it was a really fun book. Kisto Healy is a great author, and he's also an editor too. You know, a guy who I think deserves a lot more love than he gets, but really good guy. I love his stuff. So go check out Insects by Kisto Healy today. Now, number 2, it would have to be You're Not Supposed to Be Here by Mike Salt.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
such a good one.
Yeah,
Rocking the feeling. I was like, is this a Gage Greenwood special right here?
That's what I was thinking. It hit me hard because I suffer from PTSD, natural disaster PTSD, since 2017 when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. It kind of flipped my life upside down. So I kind of read that book and I was just feeling these like Gabe. I didn't like Gabe at all. I thought he was a really unlikable character. I hated him, but at the same time, it was like looking myself in the mirror and saying, "Wow, that's that." I think the reason I don't like Gabe because it reminds me of me.
Oh, don't you hate that when you're reading the book and like you're halfway through it and you're like, oh, okay, interesting.
And nothing on Mike because he knows nothing about me, my personal life. Maybe after he sees this, he'll know. But it was like he was writing the book for me. Like he just trying to remind me that I have things to work on. And it's just odd.
He's probably gonna love that.
No, I actually told him in the review. I reviewed it in Books of Horror. I reviewed it. I told him that he maybe, but he understood. But but for me to say it live on camera is kind of a different thing than writing it on the internet. It's kind of different when I'm saying it, spilling my guts and admitting to it. But like I said, I'm not ashamed of it. It happened, and I'm working on it. And the book just triggered me. But 5 stars, 5 stars, really good. I loved it. And the number 1 in the horror book, this one was really hard to choose. It really was, because it's not a really good ones out there. And please don't feel bad if I didn't say your book. Please don't feel bad. But it has to be In the Eyes, In the Shadows by Gage Greenwood. Has to be number 1. Yeah, that one just made me it hit me. I read it in 2 days, and it's like, man, Gage made me cry, which is become harder to do now that I'm thinking about PTSD, and I've dealt with so much in my life. It's hard to make me cry, and that one did it.
I never cry about anything, and like whenever Gage puts out a new book, I'm like, okay, well, I've got to pencil in a good cry. I got to be ready for this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Although I heard Gage Greenwood is going to be trying to work on a more traditional horror, so I'm interested in reading that one because I've known him from his grief horror and Bunker Dogs, which was good as well. By the way, I have an honorable mention, which is The Dead Children's Playground by James Cain. That one was that's a good honorable mention. It's about a Alabama legend of a dead children's playground. And I thought James did a really good job developing the story. It's a ghost of paranormal kind of story, but the ending is gonna make you cry if you ever read it. The end is gonna make you cry. So the Dead Children's Playground by James Cain. Check it out. That's my honorable mention.
I have a couple of his books. I just haven't read any of them yet, and I actually think I have that one. So I'm gonna move that on up my list. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, go for it. That's a good honorable mention right there. So shout out to him as well. And James and James King is just a good author himself. He's just a good guy, really wonderful dude. I mean, me and him are pretty good friends because we cheer for the New York Giants football team. And we get to cry together because they suck every year. So we get to complain every year how bad they are. So that's how we got to know each other for the Giants. So so I got to know, and I think that's the best part about this community is that you're not just reading authors, you're developing relationships. It's like a family.
That to John maybe or somebody else recently, like I went through my entire Facebook and I walked out everything I didn't like, every person page, like all that, and then I filled it up with all the horror community that I do like, and now like I keep running into people in other groups that's not horror related that I know from the horror community. And I'm just like, hey, you're there. And it ends up being like a really good place. And I'm like, well, I guess this is a sign. Like, I ran into somebody from Cemetery Dance in a Twilight group.
Wow. How you like that? But that's the thing. I mean, because people have to realize that authors, we're humans. We have our interests. We watch sports. We live our lives. We don't just write books all day. We read.
Every
it's like
time I see y'all getting into like a little sports thing, it just makes me smile because I'm like, this is so cool. Y'all are just over here sportsing it up instead of like murdering.
Sports ball. Let's go.
Like Mike Salt did some kind of fantasy football thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about sports, so forgive everything I'm about to say. But it was like a fantasy football bracket. And he was like, who wants to do this? And it's like crickets. And I'm like, none of us know what this is, Mike. But there was a couple of people that did, and he set it up. And like, we just did the whole, this is fun. And I was like, it was fun to do something that I don't normally do.
Yeah, for me, I even though I posted out about how much my team sucks, I kind of enjoy it to a degree because it builds the community together. It's like, yeah, I cheer for a bad team. I'm a true fan.
Everybody commiserates for an underdog.
I stick to my team, win or lose, good times, bad times. I cheer for them garbage guys. They can't play football. But anyway, I'm going on a bit of a tangent there. But yeah, that's a really good. I really love that. Any more questions?
What do you like? I guess this is going to be a weird one. This is going to be like a 3-part one. Horror-related video games, movies, or TV shows. Are you into any of those, or any of them you want to tell us about?
Video game wise, I'm mostly into retro games. I can't play the new games that are coming out. I'm mostly of a retro kind of guy. And what? My favorite genre, believe it or not, is real-time strategy games like Age of Empires and all that. What you might not know about me, not only am I a big horror buff, I'm a big history buff. I actually devote a lot of time to studying Roman history, Greek history, history in general. And I also do a podcast with a guy in England every other Saturday
that's cool.
We do a history podcast. We talk about all kinds of history. Roman, modern history. I will warn you, it does get a little political. We try to stay away from politics, but with history, it does get political sometimes. So but we try to keep it fun. But we try to keep it fun, and like I said earlier, I did write historical fiction books, Roman history. Under another pen name. So, and they actually did pretty good. I actually, I had a name for myself there. But then I just got burnt out from writing all these epic books, and I just wanted to go back to horror and write all these fun horror books, and all that. So yeah, I'm a big history buff now for video games. I'm mostly a PC gamer now, although I still have the Nintendo 64, a real one, by the way. I still have my old N64.
That's my favorite console of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge Zelda girl, though, too.
Zelda, yes. Yes, Zelda. The Ocarina of Time. The goat. Yes. The goat. That's it. I mean, I tried to play the other one, but the Majora's Mask, and it was that one was
Majora's
just.
Mask is my favorite. I've been playing it since I was little, and I've never beat it all the way through. But the funny thing is when I grew up and I went back to play it, I was like, okay, when I was a kid, I didn't have access to the internet. It just wasn't a thing where I lived.
Right.
I'm like, how did I figure out how to do half this crap?
Right. I think my favorite part of the Zelda games, for me, especially Ocarina of Time, the dungeons. The dungeons were my favorite part. And a bit of a tangent with Frogs and Margaritas, the temples. I took some inspiration from Zelda with the traps and all that with the temples.
Ooh. You know what? That actually makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, because the guy when they lining up the torches, they shooting the switches to open doors. Yeah, Zelda. I'm a big Zelda nut too. So the temples were well done. And also, another thing about video games I like to do is watch people play because you got a lot of creators. They've taken the original Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and made ROM hacks. I don't know if you're common with ROM hacks. They go and they hack the game and they recreate it into a different game. But they redo all the temples, a whole new storyline. I love playing ROM hacks, and that because you can only play the same game for so long, the vanilla version, and then they add different temples, different abilities. I mean, you got some pretty creative people on the video game community. They hack the game.
That's the truth. Seeing some of the skins and stuff people come up with for like Fallout and stuff.
Modding. The mods, they call that modding. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love me some good old mods. And I think that's the best thing for video games was modding, because you can only play the vanilla game for so long until you just you get bored. You gotta spice things up a little bit. Although I think modern games are not, they kind of actually more open to modding than the older games. The older games they tend to be a little more strict with modding. Like you can mod it, but you can't sell it. It has to be free to play. You can't sell it. So,
I mean, it's like these days, modern games know that it's going to happen, so they're like, well, if we make it to where it's a little bit easier, maybe it'll be a bigger sell for us.
Exactly.
People don't want to buy a game, they can switch it up, because I know there's a dumb game that I like to play, and it had like 3 brackets or whatever, and it was 3 price points, and I'm like, well, I'm more willing to pay for the higher price points since I know later on in the game they're going to make it to where we can do other things than I am like a regular one,
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I'm pretty big on video games. Well, although it's mostly the retro stuff. I'm mostly into the retro games like the NES, the Super Nintendo, all that. And PC games mostly. Now, movies, I don't watch too much television anymore. I mostly read books now. That's my biggest hobby is reading.
I'm so behind on horror movies and horror TV shows.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I just watched Squid Games this year, I think. How long is it now?
It's been a few years actually, to be honest.
So bad.
I mean, the only TV I really watch like that is sports. I'm mostly into baseball, and football. How about the only TV I
have
watch?
Something on in the background to just run while I read, do other things. So I don't really keep up with it either. I'm terrible.
Yeah. Although there is actually one show I like to watch on PBS, Nature. I like watching Nature, on PBS. I like shows with animals. I love animals. I love all kinds of animals. Frogs, all kinds of novels, you name it. There's actually a good show on NBC right now called the Americas, and they show all the different animals in the American continent. I think it's every
Oh,
Sunday at 8 Eastern. You
that's
know,
pretty cool, actually.
yeah. So that's why I've been watching it not on NBC. That and Date 9. I actually might Date 9 once in a while. The mystery, the mystery of Date 9. Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure on mine. Date 9.
I used to watch Cold Cases, I think,
Hmm.
was my
Yeah,
guilty pleasure. It was my not completely real, but kind of real weird TV show. But
right.
my parents used to watch Dateline all the time. So I used to do that one by osmosis, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Hmm.
So clearly, you're a huge Books of Horror fan for the horror community. Are there any
Yeah.
other little communities in the horror area you want to give a shout out to that you play around in? Any other
Yeah.
places? And do you
Yes.
have anything local? I know you said there's horror really isn't a local thing for you, but is there any like little ones that you know of or you like, or little bookstores?
On it, I gotta be. I mean, I'll answer that in a minute. I just want to give a shout out to indie horror novels. Is ran by Kevin Anderson. Kevin Anderson, yeah, really good guy, good author from the United Kingdom. I love his books, Gomorrah and Shop to You Drop. You know, so really, so he helps run that group. So you know, it's a lesser known group, but I might to give a shout out to. He's always trying to build it up as more. And also, I might to give a shout out to the Haunted Minds Book Club, that's ran by Nick Roberts. I just got into the group last month, so I'm trying to catch up into that group as well. And I think Andrew Nightbug started his own group called Who Scares. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. And there's also a group called Reading Between the Spines that one of my friends started that I might to post reviews. It's a smaller group, but I might people to start posting the reviews. And the woman who runs the group is a bookworm, so she's to post all the authors, and so I'm trying to help her build up the group as well. I'm trying to give her some advice how to build up the group, how to get some engagement. So it doesn't become a place where all you see is author pumping and dropping the book links. That is actually get some good. I think
Traction, get some book reviews, get some
yeah,
engagement going, like some
yeah.
real conversations.
Yeah, because there was a zombie group I might. I forgot the name of it, and it started off really good, but then it just became a pump and dump in book these, and it just died. I think the admins just kind of gave up, or maybe they just they moved on to something else, or they couldn't run the group anymore, and then it just became scammer central.
Unfortunately.
You ever get those scam messages saying, "Oh, I like your book. I know plenty of ways to sell the book for you."
I get those all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, first off, I wouldn't let you sell anything for me since you can't tell that I'm not an author from my very public profile. Number one. Number two, you are not Nick Carter. Yeah, no, all the time.
Yeah. So I think I mean the groups that I named, you're not gonna find that. It's gonna be good, quick engagement. You get to talk with other authors and all that.
Yeah,
So you're not gonna find that garbage. And as for your second question, unfortunately, Puerto Rico, it just doesn't. Horror is just not a thing. Unfortunately,
that's so unfortunate because you
it
guys
is.
have
No,
such good
I mean,
books.
the problem is that even though we're part of the United States, Spanish is the dominant language here, and but the demographics here are very different. You got an older, more traditional, also quotation marks, more traditional population. So they might too. So unfortunately, the biggest hobby here tends to be politics, and oh boy,
That's a different type of horror altogether.
I can go to another hour of how crap the politics is out here, but I'll spare you the details. But no, I mean people read out here, but it's mostly nonfiction and religion that sell here. So unfortunately, it's more Puerto Rico. You might not think so. I try to tell people Puerto Rico is not the same thing as the United States. It tends to be more white conservative leaning here, so. But I do the best I can. I do the best I can from here, and and hopefully one day I could bring horror at night here. Because I
One
know
step
everybody here.
at a time.
But I think the problem is that a lot of people here are old. They're from the older generation. And what happens? Another the young generation, they go to the United States and live out there because of the conditions here. So I'm trying to stick it out the best I can because I own this house. This is my house. Even when my parents passed away, it's my house. So I have property. So I can't just pack up and go. It's not.
You gotta make
Not
the
to
best of it, and you're
exactly.
getting popular over here, so
Yeah, I mean, one day I might to go out there. I want to go out to the States and see all you guys one day.
one day.
Unfortunately, but my parents, unfortunately, my father had a health scare, late last year. So I've been trying to get him into better health, and right now, he's doing a good job. But the appointments, it's just so many appointments are pounding up, and it's not just him. Then I got, like I said, I have an elderly neighbor next door that they depend on me to take them to their appointments because their kids are working or they live on the other side of the island and they can't. So they kind of depend on me. So, but I try. I try not to think about the negatives. I just try to focus on talk to everybody online. Just make the best of it, like you said. I even put it on my Facebook profile that I don't like talking negative. I try to avoid it. I just try to make everyone laugh, try to make everybody smile the best I can because we need it. We need it the best we can.
You know how it is. Some days I just want to type out the most negative, terrible, something that I would never say in a million years, and I'm like, okay, we're not doing this today, Alexus, and I'll just
we're
type
not
out
doing it.
something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So to finish it off, so that's why I'll be honest. Sometimes I kind of feel, I don't want to say invisible, but I kind of feel like I have to work a little harder because I do live in a white leaning, country. Unfortunately, it's very white leaning. I mean, socially
it's
that
harder
is.
for you because you don't have the local fan base. Not that all the authors do, but you don't have hey, yeah, people in my country are totally eating this up like a bunch of people in the United States do. So I totally get it. It probably feels a little bit isolated.
It's just that I don't like being negative about it because it's not their fault. It's unfortunately that's the way the island was built. That's a lot of people have to very traditional values here. So I try to get people to open their mind, but like I said, it's hard to make 50, 60-year-old people open their mind. Once they kind of grown up in a certain way, that's it's like trying to bend an iron pipe.
Yeah, just a little. Going into that, what is some wisdom that you want to pass on to the horror community, readers and writers, of course?
Okay, all right. So yeah, I got plenty of wisdom to show, as you can see. For the readers, if you're new to the horror community, don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. I'll probably be the first one to give you all the recommendations. So I'll probably be there to you gotta read this, you gotta read that. And if you want to be a reader of horror, try to find the niche, the subgenre you like the most, because and don't feel bad if you read a book and it's not your cup of tea. It's nothing wrong with you, something wrong with the author. It's just not your cup of tea. That's why I say find your subgenre. Now, if you're lucky enough to like everything you read, then then you could be a multi-genre reader and you'll be able to enjoy everything. But you gotta pick out what you like. And another thing as a reader, review. Make sure you review those books because us authors depend on those reviews.
Yeah.
Even if it's negative, even if you say it's not my cup of tea. It is what it is. I'm not going to complain and say, "Oh, I'm sorry it didn't work for you. It's just not your cup of tea." Okay, well, then you're not my target reader. but review
I
anyway.
would rather see a review that was like 2 or 3 stars that said I didn't like this because I don't like slow burns or I don't like
Right.
this. Like, say why. Don't just put like 2 stars and be like, this
Yes.
sucks. Well, why did it suck?
Yeah, why? I mean, I'll get to that with the author-centric side of it, but you know, but yeah, you're right. Those reviews do help. I mean, not if it's a review like that, then there's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. Then
Yeah.
it's just that reader wasn't for me. That's okay.
But at
Because
least everybody knows that's also looking to read it why. They're not just going to be like, well, 2 stars, I'm going to avoid this. Because if I see a 2-star that says slow burn, I disregard because I don't care. I'll read it.
yeah, right, exactly
You know?
right. And if somebody doesn't want to read a snow burn, they could avoid it and read something they want to like. So
Exactly.
so that way
keeps you from
that way.
you that they didn't know what they were getting into.
Mhm. And we don't have to read those wank reviews. Oh, those cringy wank reviews that I'm like, oh, I hated this because of that and that and that. But I picked it up anyway, even though I knew I wasn't gonna like it.
Right, like I hate everything about this book. Spoiler alert, I hated this book. And I'm like, then why did you waste that time?
Yeah,
like,
like,
why? And then somebody's like, well, I got it for free. And I was like, but you still wasted your time and that cost time.
Hey, time is money,
People are crazy.
But anyway, so and as a reader, just have fun. Have fun with the community. Don't be ashamed. And if you're lucky enough to live in an area that likes horror, start a book group. Go for it. Start a book group. Get some people to hang out with. And if you're like me, you don't live in such a community. Facebook is the way to just hang out in the Books of Horror group. It's a wonderful community. It's a lot of people.
Leaving my house, and I'm part of an online only like Zoom book club, and like I've never been able to stick with book clubs. I don't know, there's just something about me that just can't do it. But this is the first book club that I've consistently kept going to. So if you find a community, the book club, and it's maybe not for you, keep looking. There is one for everybody.
Exactly. And like I said, even if you don't have one nearby, which unfortunately I don't. Online, there's nothing wrong with being online. It's just as good. Hey, I mean, look at I'm talking to you today, which I appreciate.
Waste gas, plane tickets, or anything crazy like that.
Now, all right. So now I'm going to answer the off the side of your question because I got plenty of wisdom to show. As King Ribbittus will be talking now, so please pay attention, you authors who want to be authors. All right, so obviously, number one, have an idea. If you have an idea, just write it. Just because you can't edit a blank page. It's about the biggest piece of advice I can give is write. Just write the book. But it's not just writing the book. You got to make sure you're enjoying the process. Because I tell authors this all the time. If a reader can tell that you're enjoying what you write, they're gonna want to read it. No, it's true. It's not just reality. It's psychological too. It's mental.
You need
it's like
your book to be infectious.
Yeah. Now, if you're saying, "Oh, this has been a snark to write," all this and that, and it could be, but if you're constantly posting that, I might be insane.
I'm not gonna want to read a book that you hated writing.
Yeah. Now you could. Now, obviously, you can fake it till you make it, and then years down the line, you could admit it. I hated it, but that's different. That's different, though. That's
a reveal for later on.
Yeah, it's like Stephen King can do that. The King himself could do that, but even then, I think only Stephen King could do that. I don't even think we can get away with that ourselves. I think people will be in shock or say, "Oh shit!" Then I better not read any of your books anymore. Okay, so number two, get beta readers, man. Get beta readers and advanced readers to read your book before you even publish it. I know editing is expensive, but at least get beta readers. At least have people read your book, at least.
There's people that would love to tell you what doesn't work. I beta read, but I don't beta read for grammar. I will beta read for like ideas and structure. And like I'll tell you all day long if it makes sense there, but like find you beta readers that also like to look at the grammar and pick out and make sure that works. You know,
Oh, but I mean that's gold.
People willing to help.
That's gold. And I mean, I've been blessed. The beta readers that have told me the book has been good, you know. But that's because I guess a lot of people tell me I'm a natural storyteller, so I got that going, you know. So the only thing is sometimes the grammar is a little hard for me because I am not naturally an English speaker. Spanish is my first language because of my mother, because she only spoke Spanish in the house. But it's become my stronger tongue, English. So I'm getting there, guys. But yeah, get beta readers. Don't be lazy. Don't just write it and publish it like that. Don't be lazy.
Trust me, like I don't even write anything. Like I have a small Substack, and Allie edits my Substack before I post it. And you would think, hey, it's just a little bitty Substack, but she makes it into like this just magical piece of writing, and I don't understand. So yes, get you people to edit, get you people to look over it, beta. Just trust us. It matters.
Another piece of advice: don't skip out on your cover. I know covers could be a little expensive. But I see authors trying to make their own covers, do-it-yourself covers. And I mean, I understand you're trying, or you might even think you have a graphic design know-how, but I can tell when a cover is do-it-yourself, and it's not going to sell well. I'm sorry, it's just not. And there's plenty of designers who are willing to help with that. I mean, look at the new cover to Forks and Margaritas, the limited edition one. Mike Salt did it for me. So
like I have like little mini roster in my back pocket of like designers that have different budgets. They work with you. Like there's so many, and like I've run into it more in the TikTok community of authors that just don't know how to do it. They're like, where do I get covers from? And I'm like, let me get you some people real fast.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, wait, there are budgets. I'm just not paying $700 for a book cover. And
yeah,
like,
see, that's the most common misconception, that you have to pay hundreds of dollars for a cover, and that's false. You don't have to. You know, you don't really have to.
If you are going to do it, the do-it-yourself route, like Judith always says, there are options from like stock items that are 100% free to use that could make like a decent one, and just slap your title on it. There you go. You're not like trying to draw anything. You're not trying to go above and beyond what you can do. But
but for me, but for me, on a personal level, I judge books on covers. I do. I'm a cover freak. I do. So for me, you got to have a good cover. You know, unless I know you, I know you're a good author. I've read your books before. Then I tend to give it a pass. But if you're an unknown author to me, and I see a good cover, I'll go pick it up. I'll give it a read. You know.
I'm bad about that too. I try not to judge a book by the cover, but sometimes, and I'll always pick up a pretty one. Like it's just facts. I just can't help it. If your cover is weird or pretty or something just crazy, I'm gonna pick it up and look at it and flip it over, and I might or might not buy it, but at least I picked it up.
So more advice for writers. So good cover, beta reads. And just don't be a dick online. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, don't be a dick online. I mean, I mean, no, I'm not even talking about don't be a alt-right neo-Nazi either. I'm talking about don't go into a horror group and the first thing you do is pimp your book.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I hate cold calling, and that's basically how I feel. I'm like, is all you're here to do is peddle your wares? I mean, like, what are you reading? Who are you?
Yeah.
I don't read your book if I don't know anything about you. I mean, I don't know anything about half the authors that I pick up blindly at the store, but this feels different when you're in a group, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're going to go into a group like Books of Horror, you know, introduce yourself, get to know the community, read some books, talk about the books you've read. Because understand that us writers, we're readers as well. We're readers as well. And I think if you're a writer, you should be reading anyway. I'm not talking about just to improve your writing, just for pleasure. You should be reading for pleasure anyway. You should be reading. You shouldn't just be writing and not reading. It's like a cook who cooks but doesn't eat. You know what I'm saying?
Like, how can you be inspired? Like that.
Yeah.
No,
I just don't. And unfortunately, I know I've seen authors do this, and it kind of just cringes. I just breaks my, oh man, you're just shooting yourself in the foot before you even step through the door. Dude, I don't know nothing about you. And the worst ones are the ones who drop book links into my DMs. Yeah, I see that face. Like, yeah, don't do that. That's goofy. That's goofy. Really. Even
like, I have authors message me to arc read for them, and I have no problems doing that. Like, tell me about it, tell me what's going on. Then I have people that all they send me is a link to go buy their book, and I'm just like, I don't even know you. You've never even spoke to me before, and you mean to go buy your book? I don't know. No.
Yeah, as you can see, even the fog is unhappy with that. Yeah. I mean, and I'll be honest. I don't message people in general. Even you. I mean, and you know me already, so I don't even message people. I just don't message. It's because I know people don't like being messaged.
Like 9 times out of 10, everything can be said publicly in the comment section.
Yeah, exactly.
9 times out of 10.
And here's some bonus advice for the horror authors. Go join the Books of Horror's free view group. If you want to look for looking for ARC readers or beta readers, it's a good tool. And if you just want to give away your books for reviews, do that. That's a pretty good. That's a power move right there, because I'll tell you a little secret. Some of my big readers who get my books, they started off as ARC readers or beta readers, and they've gone out to buy the rest of my books. So
I probably do ARC reading totally terribly, because like I'll get all these ARC books and I'll read them, and then I'll turn around and buy them, and I'm like, I think this is supposed to be saving me money, and it's not.
No, but that's good. No, but but the thing is, if you want to support the author, hey, that's good. We appreciate that. That's wonderful. We appreciate that. But so
many purchases came from me just ARC reading something from Books of Horror preview, like, because I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
All it is me killing my time, and then I'm like, okay, I have to read every book this guy's ever done, or this girl. Or, I'm telling you, it's a way to get fans.
Yeah, just like somebody read all my 4 books, even book 4 that hasn't come out yet. She beta read it, she loved it, and now she's reading my wax book. So go figure. So guys, don't skip out on that. Don't skip out on it. You're missing on a. So, and my final piece of advice: reviews are for readers, not for you. You're gonna get bad reviews. It's gonna happen.
It is. I have to get reviewed at my job by customers, and sometimes if you're going to read them, you got to separate yourself from them as you read them. You cannot take them personally. Not every single.
Right. Mm-hmm. And because some of them, a few years ago, somebody said this book was written by an 8th grader. Yeah, that's a review I actually got on one of my older works. So yeah, I just mapped it off. I didn't say nothing. I just mapped it off and said, well, okay, well, I mean, so I just mark it off as a troll. That's just a troll review.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's what you got to remember too. Not everybody is out here to be nice, and people are just leaving reviews to be mean. So that's another thing. If you're going to look at your reviews, not all of them are going to be true reviews. Some of them are just there to make you feel awful.
and that's another advice for readers. For readers themselves, when you're looking at a book and you're looking at the reviews, don't trust all the reviews, or don't put all your stock on reviews, because some of them are trolls, or so just a fair warning. But then again, some people will look for troll reviews and say, "Hey, I'm going to read it anyway," because I'm sure this guy doesn't know what they're talking about.
I'm terrible. Like, my favorite thing is if I see a 2-star review, especially one that doesn't tell me why, or it's just absolutely somebody foaming at the mouth. I'm like, I got to see why this book made this person so damn mad.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, no, we used to live here by Marcus Clyde. I don't know if I just butchered his last name. The only reason I picked it up is because people were so pissed off about it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see it. That's one of my favorite books I read last year, and I'm like,
Hey,
what?
exactly. And
So,
as an author, you want a mix of different reviews. It can't just be all 5-star reviews. Then people are going to get suspicious and say,
also get
these are,
suspicious.
yeah, these are all reviews of
And then it
friends and
sets up
family.
bad expectations, because if somebody goes in and reads it and they're like, well, I didn't think it was a 5-star. What's wrong with me? And then, I don't like that either. So, like, a mixture
Yeah.
gets everybody, like, wanting to actually talk about it. Because I know
Oh
that if
yeah,
I read a book when I was
but
still doing
yeah,
stuff, I'd be iffy.
but at the same time, you can't control how people review. I mean, people are going to review how they review. So, I mean, it's possible that everybody who reads your book loves it, and sometimes you get lucky.
Just
Although
knock
the
it out of
opposite
the park.
I mean, for me, it hasn't happened. I mean, I've sold over close to 700 copies of book one of Frogs and Margaritas, and it's got a 4-star average. So, it's not
Speaking
perfect.
of that, what kind of upcoming projects do you have going on?
Ah, yes.
This is
Okay.
all about you now.
Okay. So obviously, Frogs and Margaritas, book four is coming. It's book one. Books two and three are already out. Book four will be coming out in May the 20th. So go pre-order that today. And for those who do pre-order it and send me their address, I'll be sending them a bookmark. So you go check that out. And and after that, I'm gonna be starting on I'll be doing a spin-off series. So Forks and Margaritas will be done, but I'm gonna be starting a spin-off. So it'll be 5 years after the events of the original series. So it's gonna be new temples, new frogs, new locations. So basically, think of the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time going into Majora's Mask, something like that. A
I
new
always
adventure.
love seeing, like, when anything does, like, a significant amount of time later. It's not like a year. A year is nothing, but 5 years, tell me
Yeah,
what happened. That's when you get the
yeah.
good.
You're going to go from 1988, where the original starts off from, to about 5, 6 years later to 1994, where you have AOL, you have the internet. Remember, you got mail. So instead of reading books, the main characters will be using dial-up to look up the history of Puerto Rico and going out to the archaeologists. So yeah, so it's going to be all new temples, new dungeons, new traps, and so it's kind of the same formula, but it's gonna be more enhanced as a different storyline for sure. So I'm starting to outline. So I'm going to be writing the book one in April, and the title will be Frogs and Margaritas 50 Proof. And I'm sure you know what the 50 proof means if you're for those who drink alcohol. So it go from 50 proof, 100, 80 proof, 100 proof, and then 151 proof. Yeah,
This is so cool. I'm so excited for this.
yeah, and yeah, because a new thing about me, I used to be an alcohol freak when I was younger. I was into alcohol, and unfortunately,
Weren't we all?
I had a bit of unhealthy obsession about alcohol. But the good news is I've gone clean. I've sobered up big time. I only drink once in a blue moon, and not even that. Not even that. So I don't want people to think I'm an alcoholic or anything. This is just me trying to be clever. This is me trying to be clever with my titles.
I think it's cute. I love stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
when like the little cute titles, fun stuff like that grabs my
yeah.
attention every freaking time.
And what I like about the community, I've had people try to give me ideas for future books, Mike. Uh, Sangrias and Salamanders, or uh, uh, which was actually what I was going to write. I was actually going to write that project next, but then Frogs and Margaritas did so good, so I decided that I'm going to double down on being the frog master because being a frog master is really cool.
Sometimes you just find that groove, and it's just And if frogs are it, frogs are it.
Yeah, exactly, for the win. So that's when I got a plan. So I'll be working on that. So that should be good. I should last me into next year, pretty much. And I also do have a short story coming out in an anthology about irrational fears. But
Ooh.
I can't review too much about the project since it's not official yet. But I'll let you know when I do get the green light to review the cover and review the details.
That's
But
gonna be so fun. I love knowing what scares other people because I don't really
yeah,
get scared reading books,
uh-huh.
but that sounds fun.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about my story. It's gonna be the irrational fear of mothophilia, which is the fear of moths,
Ooh,
which
okay.
isn't which is actually a real fear. I actually fear moths. That's my real phobia. I can't stand moths. It's like I get shaken up when I see a moth.
I don't
You
blame
know,
you. They are weird and they just fly around. It's not for me.
yeah. Even though I know they can't do nothing, but in this one, the moth actually does harm, and so yeah, that's where the horror aspect comes in. So that's what I really got coming up, really. So for those who are on my Patreon, you can look forward to me writing Frogs and Margaritas 50 proof. I'm just getting I'm getting the cover. I'm just getting the cover done for the limited edition paperbacks of Frogs and Margaritas 4. I'm
Isn't
getting
that the
limited.
one that Mike did for you, I believe? Or is that a
No, Mike.
different?
No, Mike Salt did. He did book one. He did the book brawl exclusive.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
exclusive cover for the book brawl. Oh, which by the way, the book brawl is in 2 weeks, guys, in the Books of Horror group. So
I'm
don't you?
not ready. I don't think I'm ready. I feel like we just voted for like the actual book brawl yesterday. Like I know we've been doing the madness and everything, but real book brawl, I feel like we just finished. I'm not ready for it again yet.
I don't think I know if you want that way for it, but you know what? It's time to put on the boxing gloves anyway.
Get ready to rumble.
Yeah, whether you're ready or not, it's ready to rumble. So I'm just waiting for the cover for the limited edition paperback of Frogs and Margaritas 4, and I'll be doing a cover review for that, and I'll be ordering the books for those who want it.
Of
And
course.
that's pretty much what I got in store. It's a not, but it's exciting. So
It is a lot and it is exciting. Thank you for being on my little segment and being
thank you.
here and chatting and telling us all about the things that you love in the horror community. I love that
Mhm.
you're so active. Anytime I see people asking for suggestions, recommendations, anything, you're one of the first people I see there naming off, helping
Yep.
out, and I love that for us. And I love
Yeah,
that
of
for you.
course. I do the best I can. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Angel. I'll drop the links to Angel's websites, all of his books, whatever he's got, so you guys can get into that and get there easier. And I hope you guys tune in more. Thank you.